just settle into your body and notice how easy it actually is, how simple it is. We presence ourselves, we bring ourselves, our awareness into what's occurring in the moment. We draw our awareness in. And we widen the lens so we can see what's happening in our body, in our mind, in our heart. So just settling in and noticing the breath. The breath is such an important cycle, pattern. So when we're looking to see what's true, we'll always start with the breath. It is the cycle you're born with, and when you end, it ends. But it contains memory. So really put your awareness on your breath. And one of the parts of the breath that's true, you'll notice that there's places that perhaps it sticks, or maybe it's smooth. The amount of air that we take in, all of that is valuable information. When we hear an untruth or when we lie, it affects our breathing. We breathe shallowly or we stop breathing. So the first place to explore what is true is to go to the breath, to ground and center ourselves in the breath. And then you'll notice at the top and the bottom of the breath, just before you shift from the in-breath to the out-breath, and from the out-breath to the in-breath, there's a pause, a natural pause. And in that pause is infinity. Everything that ever was and ever will be is contained in the pause, the stillness. And the stillness is pure potentiality. And so just feel when you tune in to the pauses in the breath, notice what happens to the body. Where does it rise? The whole body lifts. Where does it go downward? How does it expand and create space? So one of the ways that we discern what's true. And when I say what's true, it's what's true for you and all your connections. Not the truth, but what's true for you. And so in this meditation, let's just watch the heart area and the inner spaciousness and tell yourself a lie. Like, my name is George. And repeat that or some name that isn't yours a few times. And breathe into it and watch what happens, particularly in the upper respiratory, heart, lung area, throat. And just say that lie over and over again as you breathe and watch your body. And note what happens. Now take a couple of breaths just to release that. And now tell a truth that you know is a truth. Say, my name is Michael, or whatever your name is. And just, again, breathe into that and notice. You don't need to get philosophical and say, well, it's not my real name. My real name is Heaven Thundercloud or something. You can test that out too, but just tell a truth that you know is true and breathe into it and watch that upper chest cavity, heart area, lungs and throat. And notice what happens when you breathe, how it opens, expands, contracts. And just try that for a few breaths. And as you practice that, you begin to notice that when something isn't a truth for you, there's a contraction in that area. You'll feel a kind of closing in, tightening. And when something is your truth, there's an expansiveness, an opening. There's often a smile that comes with it. Something that you know for you is true. So, aesthetic beauty to connecting with our truth. And then there's the emotions. And just notice what emotions you're having right now. See if you can identify them. Joy, fear, anger, sadness, compassion, shame, guilt. And if you practice like we did with the breath and the body, you begin to see there are certain patterns when you're truthful, depending on what you're dealing with. There's often a sense of joy and openness. And sometimes there's a sense of fear that comes up because something you know is the truth, but you're not doing. It doesn't fit your patterns and your story. So if you, let's say, look at your job or your relationship, and are doing a job or in a relationship, and is this true? Is this my calling? Is this where I should be? It could bring up some sadness because perhaps you're only doing it because it's what you learned to do and you want to pay the rent and mortgage and you have kids. So you're stuck in something that's less than true for you, or a relationship that you're staying in for whatever reasons, and you no longer can make it one that nourishes you. Of course, you have something to say about that. And then you look at, well, what if I leave this job? What would I like to do? And you say, oh, I'd like to be a writer or an artist or a plumber, whatever. And you look at it and it's like, oh, that's a 10 for me, but I can't leave my job. I'll never make money as a musician. And you can feel into, there's a fear there of leaving something that's comfortable and known and controllable to moving into something that's new and exciting and uncontrollable that calls you. So there could be fear in there. So emotionally, you can tune in to what's true. Mm. Werner Erhard once said, "The truth believed is a lie." I think that's a really powerful statement. If it's coming from outside you and you're believing it, but you're not experiencing it in your body and in your emotions, then it's not really true for you. It doesn't resonate, it isn't congruent with your soul's path. And then there's the mind. When we do our breathing and we still our mind, if it's a truth, there's just a clarity. And if it's not true, there's a chaos. And chaos could also be resistance to the truth. So you really need to get still and still the mind. If you have to justify anything, it's not your truth. why I'm in this job, why I can't be an artist. All the reasons why we can't be true to ourselves. You think of Shakespeare's Polonius, to thine own self be true, and it shall follow as the day follows night. Thou shalt be untrue to no man. So when we connect to our truth, we connect to every man, every woman, everything. The barriers of inauthenticity and the need to control and be right and protect ourselves fall away. And breathe into that. So I invite you today to, whatever you're doing, look and see, is this true for me? Is this what's essential? Does this return me to my essential goodness? Because that's the truth. We are all born into essential goodness. So with that, just begin to feel the spaciousness in your body and taking a few more breaths before we bring ourselves back. And when you're ready, come on back to where you began and feel your body, your breath, the movement.